President Obama announced sanctions on Russia over the email hacks. So Huffington Post explains the details here. In addition to hitting 2 Russian intelligence agencies, 3 companies, and 4 individual intelligence officers with sanctions, banning them from travel and business with U.S. companies or individuals, Obama ordered 35 Russian operatives posted at diplomatic facilities in Washington and San Francisco to leave. The president asked the State Department to bar Russians from entering 2 Russian-owned compounds in Maryland and New York that were used to gather intelligence, according to his statement. And Obama's Treasury Department barred U.S. business with 2 Russians accused of cyber theft of money and data. Obama left the door open for further action, including a potential cyber attack on Russia. Quote, "We will continue to take a variety of actions at a time and place of our choosing, some of which will not be publicized," he stated. If Russia is not deterred now, the Obama administration believes it will continue to interfere in U.S. elections. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this. First of all, yet again, I find the framing incredibly misleading. And in fact, a poll from this week showed that 50% of Democrats believe that Russians hacked the vote tallies, changed the vote tallies to benefit Trump. That's insane. And that's all because of the headlines. Russia hacked the election. Russia hacked the election. Russia hacked the election. They're still doing those headlines today. They didn't hack the election. They allegedly, based on anonymous sources from the fucking CIA, who I won't trust with anything, and Julian Assange says this isn't true, but they allegedly hacked the DNC emails and then gave them to WikiLeaks. So, that's not hacking the election. That's hacking the DNC and getting the emails and then allegedly giving them to WikiLeaks and then WikiLeaks running with them. So, you know what the response is to that, Obama? Up the fucking security at the DNC. Like, that's it. That's it. Russia and every other foreign government is trying to spy on us, with maybe the exception of some of our allies. But even that is not necessarily true because we were spying on Angela Merkel's fucking cell phone. So we're spying on our allies. You don't think they're spying on us? Everybody's trying to spy on everybody. If they're a foreign country, trying to fucking spy on them. And they're trying to spy on us. So you know that's the case. That's a given. So now you clutch your pearls when you find out that, an attempt to spy or hack from a foreign government actually worked a little bit. And by the way, it worked because John Podesta fell for a simple phishing scam. They make it seem like it's like the Russian 007 who's figured out amazing ways to get into the DNC emails. No, they sent a simple phishing scam, and he fell for it. So instead of taking responsibility and going, oh man, look, number one, you're an idiot for falling for a phishing scam, John Podesta. Number two, we're just going to up our security at the DNC and up our security at the various government agencies to try to prevent and avoid further hacking. Instead of doing that, now he's lashing out and saying, well, we're going to do sanctions. Okay, well then he's going to respond with sanctions. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to respond with a further escalatory action? And then he's going to do the same. And then we're going to go tit for tat and we're going to march towards the brink of, yet again, World War III. Now, you might say, Kyle, that's too many, moves down the road. That's true. That's true. So, of course, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I do know what direction you're going in, and that is the direction you're going in. You're going towards further escalation and further conflict. Now, this is where idiots say, well, Kremlin agent, Putin lover, you're soft on Russia. Oh, am I really? Is that why I supported sanctions for the Crimea situation? Exactly. So there's a time for sanctions, and there's a time to not do sanctions. You know when you do sanctions? When Vladimir Putin goes into Crimea and says, mine, and he annexes it. Whoops, now this is mine. What are you going to do about it? I'll tell you what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to do sanctions. And to Obama's credit, he did. And for example, one of the things that happened was there was a multi-billion dollar contract with ExxonMobil that the Russian government had. Fell apart. Because he did the sanctions, they couldn't do the deal. Now, Trump came in and said, hey, CEO of ExxonMobil, why don't you become the Secretary of State? And they're probably going to resurrect that deal, further incentivizing Vladimir Putin to say, hey, yeah, take any post-Soviet states you want. But there's a time for sanctions, and there's not a time for sanctions. I definitely would have done the sanctions after the Crimea action. And by the way, the backstory to that is much more complicated than the U.S. media portrays it as, just to be clear. But yeah, sanctions then is okay. It's not okay, or at least in my opinion, it's not okay to do sanctions over something you knew they were going to try to do and you just weren't prepared for. You just got to up your own preparation. You just got to make sure our security is better. And then again, the framing is just wrong. And now is where I make a statement that's controversial, but it shouldn't be controversial. And we're going to do a whole separate story on this too. We should have seen those DNC leaks anyway. Like now there's this among partisan loyalist hack Democrats. There's this argument that's pervasive where, God forbid, if you say today, hey, we still should have seen the DNC email leaks, you're smeared, you're maligned, people say you're not a patriot, you don't care about America, you're siding with a foreign enemy. All these grotesque arguments, the same arguments that were made by Republicans when WikiLeaks released Chelsea Manning's data, including the video that showed our soldiers murdering media people and murdering civilians in Iraq. So Chelsea Manning released that video, and what did the Republicans say? I can't believe you did that. These leaks are helping a foreign enemy. You're helping the enemy in the battlefield. This is treasonous. You're a traitor. How dare you do it? Well, now that's what they're saying. Oh, so you're in support of the email leaks? You're in support of seeing the DNC emails? Well, I mean, that's treasonous. That's traitorous because we know Russia was the one who did the hacking. That's such a bullshit argument. By the same token, Daniel Ellsberg with the Pentagon Papers, when he found out all the fucking war crimes we were committing in Vietnam, same arguments were made then. Oh, really? You're going to expose our crimes? That's what you're going to do? You're going to expose how shitty we act behind the scenes? Traitor. Treasonous. That's what it is. Look at what you're doing. I can't believe it. Now, as time went by, everybody looked back and went, are you fucking kidding me? The guy's exposing crimes our government is doing with our money in our name. That guy's a fucking hero. Chelsea Manning. Edward Snowden, same thing. Hey, we just learned that our government's spying on us. Why would you be angry at the guy who's giving us the facts on it? Well, because it makes us look bad, so you got to hide it. That's exactly what they're saying with the DNC hacks. Oh, it exposes that Hillary Clinton's massively corrupt, that Donna Brazile leaked questions to her to bias the debates in favor of her, that Hillary Clinton said, I have public positions and private positions. So tell the public what they want to hear, and behind the scenes with your donors, give them what they actually want. You learned how Debbie Wasserman Schultz was controlling the media and telling them, hey, don't go so tough on me and Hillary. I don't know why you're going so tough. Want me to talk to your boss? So these are the things you actually learned in the DNC email leaks, and we're not discussing it because now the argument from the Democrats is Russia got the emails. Therefore, if you want to discuss anything in the emails, no matter how damning or how factual, well, you're just a Russian agent and you're a traitor and you're treasonous. And that is a disgusting sidestep of the actual issue here. And it also exposes that the establishment wing of the Democratic Party can't win on the issues. They can't win on the issue. They can't defend, in the email leaks, Hillary Clinton says, a no-fly zone and a safe zone in Syria would lead to massive numbers of civilian deaths. And then when she ran, she supported a no-fly zone and a safe zone. They don't have a logical response when we call her out and we say, hey, your Syria policy, you admit will kill massive numbers of civilians. How do you answer to that? They don't have an answer for stuff like that. So what do? Russia. You're talking about the leaks? Russia. I guess you love Vladimir Putin. So it's a way to deflect and obfuscate and sidestep and rationalize. And now they're escalating with Russia over this. Just up your own fucking security. That's the end of the conversation. You know they're going to try to hack you. You know every hostile state and even some ally states, some friendly states are going to try to hack you. So up your fucking security. That's what you do. And you're fucking threatening cyber attacks in response publicly? What the fuck is wrong with you? Who does that? Yeah, well, maybe we do that to you. What? Why would you march further down this path of hostility? The parties have totally flipped in their positions on Russia. You go back to 2012, Obama literally made fun of Mitt Romney in the debates because Romney said we're in a new Cold War. Russia is the biggest threat to world peace. And Obama said the 1980s called, they want their foreign policy back. And Obama, tried to work with Vladimir Putin at different times in his time in office. Well, now as a result of the DNC email hacks and the WikiLeaks stories, which were all true, the Democrats are now, Russia, hostile foreign actor, let's do sanctions, let's do this, let's do that. Again, I was cool with sanctions and on board with sanctions over Crimea. I'm not on board with it over this. You just have to up your fucking security. They're going to hack. Everybody's going to try to hack. We try to hack everybody else. Just up your security over it to make sure it doesn't happen. And let's at least acknowledge that we learned something that we should have learned from these DNC email hacks. And the establishment Democrats need to learn from their mistakes. But they're not going to acknowledge that. They're not going to recognize that because that requires self-analysis, self-criticism, and course correction. And they don't want to do that. They'd rather hold on to the idea that Trump's pure bad, we're pure good, Putin's pure bad, we're pure good, and anybody who disagrees with that is in bed with a foreign enemy. I don't think that's the case, and let's wait and see, but there's going to be a response from Vladimir Putin. I don't know what kind of a response it's going to be, but it's certainly going to march us further down the wrong path. It's certainly going to march us in that direction. I don't know how far he's going to go. He's probably going to do something similar in terms of kicking out some of our people. And is this really what we want to do? Over information we should have seen anyway in the DNC hacks. And by the way, that should be part of transparency laws. The DNC, the RNC, and campaigns that run for office. All of that should be in transparency laws. So for information we should have seen anyway, you're going to escalate and potentially move us closer to war. That ain't a liberal thing to do, Obama. That's a Republican thing to do.